Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Rabo. I'm a palliative care physician here at UCSF, and it's my privilege to care for people with cancer and their loved ones. I do that as part of the symptom management service in our division of palliative medicine, and as part of Mary, our education center. And I welcome you all to today's Day of Remembering. I welcome you on behalf of UCSF, all our hospitals and our clinics and programs, on behalf of the Division of Palliative Medicine and of Mary, and I welcome you personally. On the Zoom today, we have family, children and parents and siblings and partners, friends and loved ones of people cared for at UCSF who have died. And I welcome you all. And I also welcome all the people on the Zoom who work at UCSF, nurses and social workers and chaplains, staff, administrators, all the people who are really honored to have been entrusted with the care of your loved ones. We grieve along with you, and of course for our own personal losses as well. Celebrations and memorials like this are not easy. I know that, but they're important, and I hope it will be meaningful today. I think we are standing on sacred ground, ground that is not smooth by any stretch, but it is solid. My deepest respect for all of us who are on the Zoom today, who are joining the Day of Remembering. It's not easy, but it's important. My deep thanks to all of those who are speaking today and reading and singing and playing, and especially to Gail Kojimoto, who, as a labor of love, orchestrates these celebrations and ceremonies for UCSF. I encourage everyone on the Zoom to participate in the next hour in a way that serves you. Maybe that's sitting in silence. Maybe that's listening. Maybe that's speaking or singing. But whatever it is that works for you. To be here and to know that you are part of a larger and caring community. A community that allows us to bear witness to each other's experiences and to share our vulnerability. It's been said that grief has to be. Grief has to be. And by that, I think we know that grief is an essential part of human nature, of being human. If you love, you will lose and you will grieve. And as universal as grief is, there's no one right way to grieve. There's no best way to grieve. It's different for everybody. It changes over time. Multiple things can help. For all, I hope that this community and perhaps even just this event will be part of how your loss heals. I think grief is the healing of loss. Henry Beecher wrote, "What the heart has once owned and had, it will never lose." What the heart has once owned and loved, it will never lose. So I hope that this grief that we're going to talk about today is part of how our losses can heal, even as they continue on, of course, forever. May our songs, our words, our rituals, and our intention be a part of how we honor those we love who have died. So with that, I wanted to introduce Natalia Johnson, who is one of our wonderful palliative care chaplains in the Division of Palliative Medicine, as our first speaker. Thank you, Natalia.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for naming what is sacred and solid. I'd like to thank the Mary Center and Gail Kujimoto for this invitation. Much gratitude to the Division of Palliative Medicine and the inpatient transdisciplinary teams that bring heart and soul into all we do. I also want to thank the spiritual care services led by Susan Conrad. I believe we are the best on this side of the Mississippi. And to you, family, friends, and staff in attendance. The pen of American author and social activist Bell Hooks once articulated, "Love is an action, never simply a feeling. The light of love is always in us. No matter how cold the flame, it is always present, waiting for the spark to ignite, waiting for the heart to awaken." In the prophetic preaching tradition of which I was reared and learned about the mentioned light of love, the word or speaking moment is sacred and set aside. The speaker has the opportunity to dance, if you will, with the people through call and response. Heads nod, hands are raised. Talk back is affirming and assures the preacher that talking points are resonating and landing on humanity's landscape. Indeed, time is filled with swift transitions. Here in the inpatient setting, I have the privilege of entering a space, establishing a relationship of trust or mutual understanding. I get to companion narratives of hope, fear, ambition, sadness, anger, joy, and love. I generate again authentic connections with people, places, and things intended to center, ground, and connect people with emerging ways of meaning making. Today, we remember. We bring to mind or think again. We make room to nurture our hearts and minds with stories, inside jokes, personality traits, poetry, quotes, dance moves, if you will, and aha moments that contribute to our fabric. We remember efforts to resemble an ever-present and unbreakable bond. We remember saved esteem. We remember kneeling down close and advocating for the faintest muffled echo. We remember mirroring the testimony of a trustful smile at eye level with heads that could barely be upheld. We remember sitting with moans of discomfort, the gentle touch, head and foot rubs, lavender, prayer circles, family meetings, evolving goals of care, questions, questions, exhaustion, the kiss of chilled wind upon the exiting the hospital. Likewise, we remember the people who came through for us in a pinch, those who washed clothes, cooked meals, paid parking tickets, shuttled us around and offered regular wellness checks. We remember the essential tote bag carriers of congee with rice, super burritos, fried chicken, black eyed peas, and greens. We remember those who smuggled in kimchi, Passover meals, cannabis, and communion. As we took on the title caregiver, DPOA, and loved one, we remember nuptials and bedside wedding ceremonies that made the impossible real. The social worker who became photographer, prayer warrior. The pharmacist who became interior decorator, mindfulness magician. The nurse who became family friend. We remember preparing and escorting bold and courageous children and grandchildren into the ICUs and comfort care suites. The reminders to inhale and breathe deep, drink water and go for a walk. Peace of mind, space to think, willingness to share, bright lights, connections repaired, losses that significantly impacted our work and our well-being. We remember. Friends, I'm a fan of live music that soothes, revives, and offers occasional sass. I find that many of my favorite lyrics are those that I have not fully understood. Artists like Stevie Wonder, Nina Simone, Coco Taylor, and Sade seem to exist in a world of their own, in a place of potentiality adjacent to meaning. Their words feel authentic or true, but remain mysterious and remain in my rotation. It's as if the greater truth lies just beyond our understanding. I see this not just within a song, but within life itself, where awe and wonder live in the tension between what we understand and what we do not understand. And then there is the American author, theologian, philosopher, educator, and civil rights leader, Howard Thurman, who encourages us. He encourages people to look well to the growing edge, stretching the margins in areas of your life that need attention, healing, improvement, and tender love. Today, as I close, I encourage you, friends, family, and staff, to do what Alice Walker asks us to do through Shug Avery, and that is to not aggravate the divine God and recognize the field of purple flowers. Remember your loved one and cherish all of the golden nuggets that they were able to share with you. And then, in honor of my professor, Teresa Jefferson Snorton, who once preached, celebrate often, celebrate anyhow. In times that are challenging, when there's joy and when there's pain, celebrate often, celebrate anyhow. Whether the occasion calls for it or does not, create space and create room to heal through celebration. May the light of love always shine within you and around you. Thank you.
Tony, thank you so much for the beautiful, beautiful commentary. And um, I think you captured it perfectly when you were talking about both truth and mystery, which are both part of all of our lives. So thank you. I'd like now to introduce Timothy Ray, Anna Levitt, and Don Orlando. They're going to be performing our first musical interlude. Tim is the UCSF Fire Marshal. Anna, joining us this year for the first time, thank you, a manager of energy utilities and infrastructure for UC Health. And Dawn is the UCSF Medical Center Facilities Project Manager. They're going to be performing All Fly Away. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Can you confirm that you can hear us?
Yes, you sound good.
So bright morning, when this life is over, I'll fly away to that broken one country that's too strong. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away when the shadows of this life are gone. I'll fly away. I came from these prison walls of love. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away. Oh, how glad and happy when we meet. I'll fly away. No more cold iron shackles on my feet. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away. Just send me for weary days and then I'll fly away to a land where joys will never end. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning. When I die, hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away. I'll fly away.
Thank you. What a beautiful, beautiful rendition. It is now truly an honor to introduce the first of two family reflections that we have as part of today's service. I'd like to introduce Marina Didik, who is the wife of Marvin Didik. Thank you so much for joining us and speaking.
It's my honor to speak today. Hello, everybody. As as a family speaker on behalf of our family, my husband Marvin, I'm speaking from a ski resort in beautiful British Columbia called Big White Ski Resort. This is Marv's happy place. Marv was my soulmate of 43 years. He was diagnosed with glioblastoma, a rare form of brain cancer, in August of 2021. He passed away 11 months later. Last July at the age of 63. At diagnosis, it was, of course, a complete shock to him and to all of his family. With very little symptoms, it was not what we expected to hear when the results came in. His courage was very remarkable. Marv told me that day, he said to me, "Marina, we aren't going to do the why me." He said, "Why not me?" Marv was a very positive man, and his philosophy in life was, it is what it is, and that's how he lived his life, and even with the acceptance of the news. I'd like to acknowledge the remarkable group of doctors and staff at UCSF, such dedicated and passionate professionals who truly care about their patients. They became known as Team Marv. Dr. Hervey Jumper, Dr. Bronstein, and Dr. Jenny Clark. Marv called Dr. Clark his quarterback. I do believe we had more time with Marv because of her guidance in making decisions. He always told her that he would take her for lunch one day. And so Dr. Clark and I are planning on honoring him, and we're going to meet for that lunch. Marv was the heart of our family, as you can see in the pictures. My best friend, amazing father to our kids, Michael and Krista, and their spouses, Vanessa and Nathan. And just the most amazing Guido, which means grandfather in Ukrainian. He was fully Ukrainian. To his amazing grandchildren, Lena and Nate, Shay and Ash. He adored his grandchildren and always came right down to their level. On the floor playing Lego, teaching them woodworking in his shop, reading books, and just having silly fun together. Spending quality time, he always said, time spent is better than any material gift. And this is what they will remember, he would say. And boy, was he right. Marv lived a life to the fullest. He was retired from an amazing career, a master builder, winning many awards, built hundreds of homes. He was very hands-on, always picking up a tool and helping his trades on the job site. His trades always felt respected by him. He never came across as better than them. He made many lifelong friendships through his career. Marv was an avid outdoors person who loved to camp with his family. He loved fishing and had way too many boats. He always had a good fish story. He loved to ski with us and spend time in the winter at the family ski cabin, which is where I am right now. It's his happy place. His passion in retirement was his vegetable garden. He loved to spend hours in his greenhouse. If you happened to walk by our house and he was out in the garden, you would be offered fresh vegetables over the fence. He was a dive master and loved the ocean. He loved crab fishing, and we did enjoy a lot of very fun family crabbing trips each summer over the last 40 years, and this tradition is still going on 3 generations. He was so happy out on the ocean, pulling up crab traps, not to mention the many family crab feasts around the campfire. He loved to travel, and we fortunately had many amazing adventures and trips to over 40 countries. Marv was the best travel companion. He had a great sense of humor and a belly laugh that can still be heard. He was a very calm, warm, and kind-hearted man, and the most honest person I have ever met. For all that Marv achieved in his life, which is a lot, nothing made him more proud than his family. He would say to me often, "Wow, we are so blessed, Marina. Our kids are all grown up and have their own families, and they still want to hang out with us. We must have done something right," he would say. He taught us all to be humble and kind, and also to do something each day to make the world a better place. And this was his motto, and something that we all try to achieve every day. He built a legacy that we as a family will carry on. I promised him, and it was very important for him to know this, that we would all stick together as a family and we would all be fine. He wants us to do all the many things that we already planned for the future, a promise we will keep. We feel him all around us more and more as the days go by. We talk about him always, and this is healthy for all of us, especially the grandchildren. He is in, he's in every conversation. We laugh, we cry, and we feel him right there beside us. His strength gives us strength. For the rest of our days, we will miss him until we meet again. I would like to acknowledge to all of you who have lost loved ones, from our family to yours. We send you love and strength. Hang on to those wonderful memories. Take baby steps every day. Go for a walk every day and breathe in that fresh air. It really, really helps me, and I'm sure it will help you as well. I'd like to read a poem that really helps me a lot, just in closing, and it's written by Elizabeth Amons. You can shed tears because they are gone, or you can smile because they lived. You can close your eyes and pray they will come back, or you can open your eyes and see all that they left for you. Your heart can be empty because you can't see them, or you can be full of the love you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember only that they are gone, or you can cherish their memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your mind and feel empty, or you can do what they would want. Smile, open your heart, love, and go on. Thank you.
Marina, thank you so much. I think Marvin would be proud of you for helping to make this ceremony a better place. I really appreciate your words, and now have the honor of introducing Sandra Fuentes. Sandra is the daughter of Maria Fuentes, and we'll be doing our second family reflection. So, Sandra, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so thank you. I am extremely honored of speaking on behalf of my mother, Maria Fuentes. I am in my happy, excuse me, I'm getting choked up. I am in my happy place, my calm place, here with my mother, graveside at the cemetery where she is buried. And I thought it would be the perfect place to be while we do a tribute to our loved ones. And I'm surrounded by other families, excuse me, loved ones as well. Marina, beautiful tribute to your husband, Marvin. May he rest in peace. My apologies. I'm trying to be extremely strong today. My mother, Maria Fuentes, in one word, selfless. She would put in an 8-hour day in the vineyards, then come home and cook a full meal from scratch, waiting on us hand and foot before she would even eat. When you're growing up, you don't realize just how much your parents really do for you. My mother came to the Napa Valley from a small town called San Bernardo in Jalisco, Mexico, in 1976. She loved mariachi music, her all-time idol being Vicente Fernandez, aka her Chente. She greatly enjoyed shopping and spending time with her beloved granddaughters. Anyone that went to my mother's home, also known as everyone's Tia Licha, left her home with a full tummy. She wouldn't let anyone leave without eating her delicious, authentic Mexican dishes. Our favorite dishes were her mole, her chiles rellenos, and her enchiladas. She will forever be everyone's Tia Licha. One thing that I have always admired about my mother was her work ethic. She had amazing work ethic. She would arrive every day extra early because she never, and I mean never, wanted to be late to work. My siblings and I feel very honored and privileged to have been her children. And she will forever live on in myself, my siblings, and her 4 beautiful grandchildren. And I really want to thank Dr. Julio Rojas at UCSF, my mother's neurologist, for the amazing care. My mother was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's at the age of 58, and she unfortunately passed to this horrific disease in June of 2022. And so the care that UCSF provided and the care that the staff provided is just, we're forever grateful. The compassion, the hours of consults that they provided to help us understand the next phase of the disease and the next phase of the disease and what was coming, and preparing my sister and I and our family of the what to do's and not to do's was amazing. And I can't say enough the compassion, because my mother had a very difficult time at the end where, you know, her personality changed and people would stare, and they helped us immensely. And so if anybody on this call has anybody or a family or loved one that currently has Alzheimer's, the Alzheimer's Association is a phenomenal organization that can also help. And I really appreciate everyone listening to my story and my family story. And grief is very unexplainable. And grief is definitely a roller coaster. And so it's okay to take it day by day. And it's okay to have bad days and happy days and days where you feel guilty that you're smiling or laughing or starting to kind of start living your life again, because your loved one will always live on through memories and pictures and everything inside of you. So thank you very much for this opportunity, UCSF.
Sandra, thank you so much. Your words were like a feast that I think your mom would be very proud of you for sharing with us. So thank you. I wanted to invite Anna, Don, and Tim back for the performance of Sing For You, written by Tracy Chapman.
Sweet and high at the break of dawn, simple tune that you can hum along to. I remember there was a time when I used to sing for you. Do 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 do. When I used to sing for Knew all the words to the popular song with the radio on full volume. I remember there was a time when I used to sing for you. Do 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 do. I used to sing for you. Do 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 do. When I used to sing for you, forget the chorus, you're the bridge. Words and music to every day I've lived. There's nothing I wouldn't give for one more time. When I can sing for you, do 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 do. When I used to sing for you, do 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 do. Do 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 do. Soft glow while the evening comes, holding you sleeping in my arms. I remember there was a time when I used to sing for you. Do 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 do. I used to sing for you. Do 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 do. I used to sing for you.
Thank you, Anna, Don, Tim. Another beautiful, beautiful song. It's now my pleasure to introduce Redmond Kisar, a good friend, an author, a poet, midwife for the dying, and part of the team with Gail, myself, and Judy, who you'll meet in a moment at the Mary Center. Redmond's going to share a poem with us this afternoon.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you, everyone, for being part of this. I'm always honored to be part of this particular ceremony and honored to use poetry as a healing instrument for all of us. This poem is by Elizabeth Austin, and it's called Calling Out the Names. Stripped of leaves, each limb exposed, maple remembers the whoosh of branches lush with wind and shade. Even frozen solid or emptied by drought, river remembers flood banks, the pulse of current. Grain in the loaf remembers field. Scar remembers knife, but also suture, and the hand that bandaged. Bed recalls absent sleeper, damp breath on the pillow, brush stilled on the dresser remembers knots and what followed the untangling. Honey remembers hive, bee, and blossom. Salmon tastes home in the scent of its birth stream. Sand remembers shell. Gravel, the granite cliff. Lung, breath. Throat, song. and I remember you.
Thank you, Ricky. It is now my pleasure to introduce the last parts of our event today, to introduce Judy Long, who's a palliative care chaplain. She's an educator in the Mary Center. And she's going to lead us in the candle lighting and litany of remembrance with Patrice Hahn on harp. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And like Red Wing, I feel like it's such an honor to be here, and I'm very grateful to every one of you. So we will first, and I invite you to join me in lighting a candle to just open up additional sacred space. This is already a sacred space, but one that will accompany the reading of the names. If you have a candle, you'd like to light it, I invite you to please strike your match now and light your candle. If you don't have one, then you might like to simply imagine light and hold it in your heart. But you will see me do this first. And may this candle be our remembrance, be the light that shines on us and through us and connects us always with each other and with the people that we love and that we have loved and continue to love. I'd like to introduce Patrice Hahn, our amazing artist, harpist, who will be playing music in the background as the names are scrolled. And as the names are scrolled, I invite each of you to chat, put into the chat. I see many of you have done that already. Thank you. But if you like, please feel free to add to the chat names of loved ones that you'd like to remember and have remembered now. Thank you so much, Patrice. It was so beautiful. And thank you, Gail, for the beautiful presentation. So now we'll have the reading of the Litany of Remembrance. And I will read the words in white, and you will say the words in blue. I will also say the words in blue, but please say them with me. So when they come on the screen, we'll begin. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. In the opening buds and the rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of summer, we remember them. In the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Patrice, for that beautiful music. I thank all of you who shared those beautiful photos of your loved ones, and all of you who put names and stories in the chat, and those of you who are holding the names and the stories privately in your hearts. I thank you all. This brings us to the end of our day of remembering. I leave you with two hopes and one commitment that I think we all have made. The first hope is that we all may feel the strength of community, the strength of this community, of your family and your friends, the strength of a world, most of which knows some of your pain, all of whom will know some of your pain someday. The other hope is that your grief will be the way that your loss heals. I hope that grief heals for you. This process, painful as it is, variable, daily, forever, will be the forever healing of your grief. And a commitment that we won't forget. Of course, none of us will ever forget. But that our lives moving forward will be in honor to those that we've lost. So I want to thank all of you in attendance today, and I want to thank our speakers and our musicians, our family speakers in particular, for sharing in a public forum their private losses. And I want to thank Gail especially for her amazing work in the Day of Remembering. If you've had a chance to communicate with her, you'll know that this is part of how she expresses her love and appreciation for all of you who impact us here at UCSF. This is the end of our formal program. We're going to have another few minutes of beautiful music. If you'd like to stay and listen to that, please do. And may the strength of our community go with you this afternoon and forevermore. Thank you, everybody.